Today I'm going to show you how we track our vacation and plan for the next vacation, because it is important that we are not drowning in debt for that 3 days or 1 day or 7 days off. It is not worth it to sacrifice years of a life. Time is limited. The tracker I'm about to show you is part of the big overhaul to make it easy to use and flexible for your needs. It is still work in progress, but it's still good enough to demonstrate how I track our vacations and plan for the next one. And if you know me, I like to track everything. And this tracker tracks at a much granular level than I believe any existing tracker that is available on the internet. But the nice thing about it is you can track as granular as I do it or as less granular as you want it. As Americans, we love our vacations. It is a way for us to unwind from the daily grind, from the work we have to put in, to make sure we have the active income to support our life necessities. It's a way for us to experience new things, experience different part of the world. I believe having a vacation just to get out is healthy, but it should not be at the expense of your freedom, your true freedom. Because you don't want to be drowning in debt that will cost you years and decades to pay off. And because you are drowning in debt, you could be stuck in a job that you don't like. You could be stuck in a job that does not meet your value. So you're losing part of you, not a whole you. Let's face it, you spend over a third of your life working 8 to 10 hours per day out of a 24-hour period. If you are not happy where you're at, if you're not happy where you're working and what you're doing, without further ado, I'll show you how we track our recent trip to Niagara Falls. First thing I do is I go to the vacation tab. This is our main tab that we track our vacation. I enter in the description, so 2025 February Niagara Falls, when it starts, when it ends, the city and the country, in this case, Canada. And this here is automatically calculated based on this description. And this is important to enter because our data entry tab, we use that as a drop down. This way, we can run a nice report later on when we get there. Just like any budget, I'll put in different transactions. And you notice here, transaction fee in Canada. Transaction type is fee. Unfortunately, I used the wrong credit card. I use mostly the credit card that does not have a foreign transaction fee. But for some reason, I grabbed this credit card and they charged me 3 foreign transaction fees. But I did call them and they were able to reverse 1 of the 3. So I'm still on the hook for 22 cents. That still bothers me because I don't like to give away my hard-earned money to the bank. The bank is already rich. They don't need my money. So that's the lessons learned. If you go to a foreign country and use your credit card, make sure your credit card doesn't have that foreign transaction fees. So you look at transaction fee, I put in the payee. I put in it's a fee of $1.56. Do I want it to categorize it? No, it's just a one transaction. And transaction amount, $1.56. Same thing with different category, different subcategory from what card, so the credit card number 2. And I already reconcile it from my receipt to the bank transaction. And no vehicle involved here. And if I have any notes, I put in the notes. The events is for my daughter's events or different events, birthday events, etc. But vacation, I would drop down and select that vacation drop-down list. That's why it's important to start with the vacation tab, because if I would have put in something different, let's say 20 tests, it will flag me because it's not valid. The way I designed this, I only allow entry here, vacation destination, once it is entered in the main sheet. So if I put in 2025 test, then that test is available as part of the drop-down. And if I have a transaction where they lump the amount into one transaction receipt, this is where I categorize the receipt. So the embassy suite that we stayed in, they lumped their hotel as well as the valet parking together. And I like to separate the lodging and the parking and the toll and the fuel all separate so I know where my money goes. So in that case, I will put in embassy suite, purchases. The receipt amount, it's in 2 different rows. And under the categorize receipt, I put in yes instead of no. By doing yes, it free up this field. So I put in 196 went into lodging hotel and $70.59 went into parking. even though it is a receipt of $267.11 in American money, it is separated into different subcategories. And I also put in native currency, that's a Canadian money. And of course, I put in vacation destination, so it's good for running the report later. And the different statuses, reconcile means what I have in my receipt and what the bank posted, agree. Pending means I enter it, but waiting for the bank to post it. And if it's posted, it just means that I recall the transaction, but I can't find the receipt anywhere, so I just put posted. If it's posted and I don't recall it, I'll put posted but no receipt. And this is flexible. You can change the different statuses that make sense to you. But in this case, this type of status makes sense to me. So once all the transactions are entered, along with the receipt amount, categorized amount, and properly bucket under vacation destination, the 2025 February Niagara Falls. And when I go back to the vacation tab, it does the automatic tally. So for that trip, it cost us $1,232.82. And if I go to the breakdown here, it costed us $1,200 total, but $263 was more of us not prepared for the bitter cold, that we had to get extra layers and gloves and mittens. So if we were to take that out and look at it without the winter clothes, the trip cost us $869.46. And we categorized by different events, from admission costs to dine-in to fast food, even fees. I put that 22 cents that cost us, and the fuel, the hotel, the parking, the souvenir, and the toll, and the percentage breakdown. Our daughter also had gymnastic meet the day prior, and I also track her meet as well, so I know that, hey, when we have to have a far away trip that is 3 to 4 hours that we stay overnight, how much does it cost us? It normally costs us $360. So I know that if it's a local where we drive and then drive back, then it's around $140, $150. If it's somewhere we have to stay in the hotel, then it's around $350. And I like to track it like this because if you want to save some money, you can say, you know what, let's not buy any souvenir. We can save 19% of our expenses. And dine in, you can cut some costs by eating out further away from the attractions. I like separating the different transaction for the different vacation because it's good for planning. A lot of times people don't think about the plane ticket or the hotel, but if you stay multiple days, you have to have food, you have to have snacks, and many other things that involve a vacation. So when I plan for a vacation, I like to plan for the whole cost of vacation. And it may sound like it's tedious, but for what I do, it's really not that tedious. It's very, very quick. All I need is to data entry. But once I enter the data, I have different KPIs and different metrics that will spit out the information I need without having to reduplicate and redo the effort. If you look at the prior trip in 2024, both were a Tennessee trip. Total cost was quite a bit, over $7,000. But because we have reward points, our total cost was $5,300. So we saved quite a bit there. And I'll save that for the next episode. I have a yearly cost summary up here, which shows the total cost for the year and any amount saved with the redeem points and total out of pocket for the year. So in 2024, our 3 vacation, it cost us, total cost us $8,200, but we redeemed over $1,600 worth of points, and our out of pocket expense was $6,500. And in 2025 so far, the vacation that we had in Niagara Falls, total cost was $1,200. We didn't redeem any points, so that's a total cost out of pocket. I keep track of our reward points, how many we have available. I have 3 different reward credit cards, and these are the points available and different conversion rate. So we have a total dollar value based on these points. We have a total dollar value of $2,844. As a disclaimer, reward credit cards is not for everyone. If you have any type of credit card, not just reward credit card, you should only have it if you can pay it in full. Never pay installment, never pay minimum, because that's how it drains your wallet, and that's how it can prevent you from investing your money, allowing your money to grow. Having said that, we use credit cards for every transactions. The only time we don't use it, if it's a cash only event or they don't accept credit card at all. The reason we do that is we want to accumulate those points that allow us to have free vacations or free rental cars or whatever it comes with, right? But again, only use it responsibly. Because if you don't, you are contributing to the bank's wealth. Our next trip is Hawaii trip, and we plan to cover our flight using the points. And we plan to have 6 tickets covered. And I'm willing to pay $525 per ticket. That means we need $3,150. Right now we're short $305, so 89% there. But if the ticket is $400, then we're ready to go. But I'm not willing to pay more than $525. During the peak season, people can have it. I'll go in non-peak season. I put in this box here as a reminder that vacation is worth it, the experience is worth it, but it should not be at the cost of your true freedom. So with the granular data entry and the data entry table, and with the different summary of the different expenses that goes part of the vacation bucket, and the different summary for different events, as well as the summary for different vacation, we have enough data points, historical data points, to allow us to better plan for future events or future vacations or future projects. The way I run my personal finance is no different than how corporations run their finance. In a corporation, we have what we call CapEx, where a couple months before the next year starts, we will sit down and understand what our equipment needs, what our staffing needs, what all the different needs, and we budget accordingly for the next year and what quarter we need them by. So the way I budget my finance is the same way. I track every income and I track every expenses. So this way, I know exactly how much I spent the previous year and for different events, for different vacation. And for the next year, I would know how much I need to budget for each of those expenses. Of course, with any budget, sometimes you're over budget, sometimes you're under budget. But it is better to have a close ballpark than being way off. To me, there's no way around it. If you want to ensure that you have the financial freedom, you have to budget, at least at the start. Budgeting is applicable to not only us low to middle class, but it is applicable to the richest too. Just look at the athlete as an example. If you're not good with your finances, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You can still go broke. We had multi-million-dollar athletes that go broke and bankrupt after they're done playing because they don't understand how money works, because they don't know where the money coming in and they don't know how much money is going out. I know for the last 10 months, I have not deep dived into the budgeting aspect of financial freedom. And that's because I want my audience, I want you to start getting to the mindset of trading time for your money to money making money. I want you to get in the mindset of the possibilities of what the money can do, how it can grow your wealth into the future, before I start getting into the tedious, the day-to-day, and the chore and the task list of budgeting. Because I can show you the tools, I can show you how to budget, but if you don't have the why at the end goal in mind, then budgeting is not going to stick. Because let's face it, unless you're analytical, unless you're data-driven like me, budgeting is boring. But by having a why, by having a strong why, then it will get you to do the day-to-day, to do the boring, mundane task like budgeting. I don't have the ETA when I will complete this budget overhaul, but I hope it's sooner rather than later. Now you know how we're able to go from 2 active incomes down to 1 active income and 1 passive income, and still be able to afford the vacation and different events that our kids are involved in. We still bring in the same total amount per year for 2024, but 1 is active, 1 is passive. We are able to do that because every incomes and every expenses are tracked. And we have KPIs that allow us to see where the flows are coming in, where the flows are going out. And when we need to do something or want to do something, we know whether we can afford it or we can't afford it. If we can't afford it, we'll wait. And if we can afford it, we'll do it. The key to wealth is not to live above your mean, not to live within your mean, is to live below your mean. Because that gap that you create can work for you. And once that works for you, it gives you the freedom that a job cannot offer.